It's Tuesday, the 25th of November, 2025. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories to race through in just 5 minutes. Let's get cracking with story number 1. Macquarie Asset Management has made an $11.6 billion bid for logistics group Qube, sending its share price up 19% yesterday. Meanwhile, briefly yesterday, it looked like BHP was returning with a new bid for Anglo American. Although that fizzled quickly, I think we can still call it a deal frenzy though, Sean.
Oh, totally. Very exciting few hours yesterday morning. The deal that is up and running is between Macquarie and Qube, Qube. $5.20 a share indicative offer, about 28% premium to the share's closing price on Friday. Follows an earlier unsolicited bid, and Macquarie's now got exclusive due diligence until February 1. Qube is the country's largest logistics group, operates across Australia, New Zealand, Asia, including 50% of the Patrick's container terminals. Basically, Michael, shifts stuff around the place, 150 rail services per week, big business. For its part, Macquarie is becoming a major player in logistics in this country, as well as offshore. Actually nice to see an investment in logistics, not data centres or AI or something.
Yeah, indeed. Now, on to BHP. As we said, it was only a couple of hours yesterday morning, but it was an exciting few hours. It did sound like BHP was making another bid for Anglo American, the mining company that actually rebuffed the big Australians' $75 billion offer last year. But this one, the new one, well, that wasn't to be either.
No. So Bloomberg reported that the bid might be back on, but ahead of the market opening yesterday, BHP put out a statement saying following preliminary discussions with the board of Anglo American, BHP confirms that it is no longer considering a combination of the two companies. Obviously, it was considering ahead of that, but was rebuffed. What's it say about BHP? Well, it shows it wants the copper assets. It shows that Anglo doesn't want to work with BHP. It also shows BHP is acquisitive. Just interesting. You're seeing these deals coming through now. Getting a bit busier on the M&A front, Michael.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. On to story number 2 now, Sean. And Federal Parliament is back in session for its final week of the year, and the coalition attacked the government on energy prices, calling Chris Bowen a part-time energy minister.
That's because Bowen will also spend the next year running negotiations for COP31 in Turkey in 2026. The government's argument was that Bowen having a main seat at the table in the shift to net zero globally is a great opportunity for Australia. The opposition's line of attack is he will be missing in action. Energy will be the main issue this week as the government attempts to pass its environmental reform package. Just quickly in the Senate, One Nation's Pauline Hanson caused an uproar, in fact a suspension of sitting of Senate after wearing a burqa into the chamber. She wore the head covering minutes after she was denied leave by the government to table a bill to have burqas and full face coverings banned in Australia. She was rebuked by all sides yesterday.
Story number 3, Australia's ambassador to the United States, Kevin Rudd, has copped a blast from Donald Trump's trade czar, Jamieson Greer, over the Albanese government's proposed new content obligations for streaming services that have somewhat angered US-owned platforms.
Greer vented over the planned new laws during a closed-door meeting with Rudd in Washington late last week. According to The Australian, the new laws unveiled earlier this month will require streaming platforms with at least 1 million local subscribers, I think Netflix, Amazon, Disney, to spend 10% of their local expenditure or 7.5% of their domestic revenue on Australian-made programming. That just aligns the international streamers with requirements faced by free-to-air networks, which have been long subject to local content obligations, but they're not happy about it.
No. Story number 4, the DroneShield story. We've been talking a lot about this lately, but it's taken a slightly sinister turn with CEO Oleg Vornik telling investors he was justified in selling his entire $50 million stake in the defence technology business, in part because the role carried a significant risk to his life.
Vornik, DroneShield chair Peter James and another director offloaded $70 million worth of shares with little explanation earlier this month, triggering a huge slide in the defence company's share price. Vornik was due to meet shareholders yesterday, but he had spoken to a number privately, according to the Fin Review, and explained his decision to sell. He also said the stock represented a shareholder-approved bonus. He's told investors that he and others at DroneShield had worked hard to increase revenues from $50 million to $200 million, with shareholders approving the granting of the stock. I suppose the thing that people are worried about, he almost immediately sold the shares once they vested this month. Yesterday, DroneShield said it would ask 2 of its independent directors to review the share sales and whether they'd been in line with the company's securities trading policies.
Last one, story number 5. How about this one, Sean? A gold-trimmed pocket watch worn by a famous passenger on the Titanic has been sold at auction for $2.3 million. But the thing about this is that the watch actually stopped ticking at exactly 2:20 a.m. on the day the vessel sank. Basically, as it went into the water, it stopped.
Its wealthy owner, Isidore Strauss, was co-owner of Macy's department store franchise, was travelling first class on the Titanic with his wife Ida. Ida famously refused to get into a lifeboat with her husband, and the two perished on April 15, 1912, having last been seen arm in arm on the deck. Mr. Strauss's remains were found at sea a fortnight after the Titanic went down. Mrs. Strauss's remains were never recovered, according to the New York Times. The sale was a record for a piece of Titanic memorabilia sold by auction house Henry Aldrich and Son. That group also sold a pocket watch for $1.9 million last year. It sold another one for about $1.46 million. It sold a violin on the ship for $1.3 million in the last couple of years, and a letter from a passenger for $120,000. But I love this story about the Strausses.
Yeah, it is an incredible one. Good way to finish. There we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 25th of November, 2025. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, very important. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you're listening to podcasts. And don't forget to go to our website, fearandgreed.com.au, which is where you sign up for our free daily newsletter. Lands in your inbox every morning by 6 a.m. A great way to get ahead of the competition and get ahead of your colleagues as well for the day. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.